I've loved the way this game is played out from Alter Ego. I think they absolutely do deserve the win off this. We'll see if they can close it out. But up until this point, it has been fantastically played.
Rosemary, nade over towards Nico, and he's going to be able to land it. One and done. Sure, flashy might not be all substance, but it certainly looks good on camera. And now it's in a circle, moving on in. I think it's just Valak with a nade cooking. Tried to move past, crawling through the smokes, playing hide and seek. Drops a nade under towards one of them. And it's Ratto Boy now out on the flank. Don't know if they know where that nade came from. He steps up for another. Valak has no HP, but he's playing like he's got a full bar right now. Ratto Boy has got a Slovenia to play off against on the off angle. But Valak's up to the rock. He'll step up high, and he looks for another. He's now got one more player to deal with. It's all up to him, and he won't quite be able to go the distance, but there's a reason that Valak is praised like he is.
You're crazy. Steps up on Lion's Rock and rolls with the DBS. That is some unbelievable maneuvers.
It really is now down to 9Z as well as Alter Ego in this endgame, but goodness me, Valak is
really the main character of the lobby at the moment.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. He is looking so hot right now. Taken down almost the entirety of loops with a chance, and with like no HP as well. From the beginning of that 1v4,
those were
like 15 HP.
Yeah, those were actually some hot jukes coming through from Valak. Yeah, very well done. Fortunately, Alter Ego will take a knock there, which is kind of a big deal to you in the position. I think at this point in time, this is where you start to fold back slightly. Oliver consistently is trying to get that information, but again, you've lost a player in your back line. That's one of your backstop anchors. Now life gets a little bit more difficult for you. With 9C having 4 players, it's a bit of a big deal. You have to now hope the circle moves away from this roadside where you can take advantage of the buildings.
Interesting dichotomy. 12 elims found for Alter Ego here. I mean, in a circle, they went down just there, we saw, but they got 8 elims on the match blank. It's a really strong result coming through. Alter Ego looking to try and keep this one under control, however.
Yeah, I mean,
what can 9Z do with the numbers?
It definitely was a mistake there coming through from Alter Egos. I think that they should have started to fall back a lot earlier. And again, still taking these aggressive angles is quite... It's a little bit uninformed of where the circle is at this point in time. For Alter Ego, like, look at this. They could have folded back here way earlier, been as a 4-man, and just played out this game. They don't need more eliminations at this point. You can just let the game play out slowly. You know there's a 4-man squad on your north side. That's your main prerogative now. That's who you need to be focused on.
Luke, we're going to try and clear out the fields, and he will be able to connect it. Just as he pops the reload, Quick goes down. 3 teams now remain. Everybody's going to know where this last player from Loops is now as well. He's got to crawl forwards. Going to have to wait for 9Z to make that first move, but has got some rock cover and might actually be able to get a decent amount closer to this compound. Rosemary, you imagine, going to be looking out for him, but 9Z, the major danger for them on the North Crash.
Yeah, they need like an initial knock as they push through. This smoke train looks pretty good so far and super necessary for them. I appreciate they try and take 2 angles here from Alter Ego, but yeah, they need to get 1 knock at least.
They're up to it. I mean, this is an angle that Ratto Boy could actually have an impact on as well. The approach here, he's going to see them. He's going to see all of this unfolding. As soon as they start to go for the fight, he's just going to hope that they don't look out his way. He's taking this opportunity to move up to the next rock. Has to go further, though. That's not in the zone. Needs to step further forwards than this. And that is where it's going to get really dangerous. People are going to figure it out. Yeah, you can see they're taking a look out to the field. He's got a couple more seconds to play around with. Alter Ego making moves in the meantime. That might draw the 9Z attention.
I'd be very interested to see the end game like travel diagram for 9Z, because they've been all over the place. But it's been a pretty damn good game from them so far, honestly. I think the main thing that's impressive here in this end game is just the smoke usage. Very quickly set up. As soon as they hit this building as well, there was smokes laid down to try and cover them off. they are kind of low on them. Good shot from Rosemary. Immediately needs to back off, and it's not the players he was looking for.
He's got 3 nades in that position for Rosemary. Needs to heal low. 9Z. He's not going to be able to flex out just yet. They do have some vehicles to play around with, but with Rosemary on the side swipe, getting up that ridge line made so much harder. The back towards the further high ground, get that crate as well. Might be dangerous. Snake, though, stepping forwards, getting very close to things, Blank.
Good damage so far. A little bit chip on both sides. Rosemary is a key figure in this end game. Up to 8 elims so far this game, doing a fantastic job, and it's a singular corridor almost in terms of the route that 9Z needs to take. Alter Ego, they got 6 nades. They do need to be on target.
Go around the edge of that building, try and sweep the compound through on that side. Rosemary, sightline isolated, but he's up onto the rooftops now, playing further back as Alva looks to hold. 9Z, they are moving up to that north side and into the buildings, but the zone goes away from them. It's into the middle that it will fall, and that is on the outside, down the ridge in the open ground.
Yeah, Rosemary double back. There's not a lot of nades left available now for Alter Ego.
It's 9Z with a big chicken dinner there. It looked wild, looked chaotic at the start of that match for them, Blank. They had a really strange approach to the circle.
Discussions going on in how they should have played it. But for 9Z, yeah, I mean, very, very cool rotates this game. There was a little bit of confusion towards that mid game, though. But in terms of the gun skill so far, it looks very good from 9Z.
Yeah, they managed to win out those trades when they needed to. The nades looking all right there. That's a great pickup for them. That position that they held on that high ground, it did indeed work out. Inner circle, a very flashy play from Falak. I'm sure that will be going into the show reel, and they'll be having a good time of it as well.
I think let's head over back to the analysts. We'll see what they said about that game and 9Z's crazy rotates.
And it's 9Z bringing some of that Latino heat to the group stage here. It's Group Green, and this team has had such a crazy start. Rondo, 13 eliminations, and now they get that chicken dinner here in this match, Max Man. And by the way, one of my favorite things happened, right? Where the teams are all so good that they think without a doubt this huge compound
in the armor and instantly abuse that in their favor to not only just get the win, but get a ton of eliminations in the process.
Yeah, I really had Alter Ego slated to win that, right? Because they did have that third party against OG and D+. That gave them full control of the compound, full control of the north and the western side of zone, and then...
I'm shocked that OG made the push onto D+ Kia Max. I mean, they were looking so well set. Literally, once I saw the zone go to that position, I was talking about how that compound is the strongest compound in that entire area. And once I saw D+ have it, I was like, they're good. OG share it with them. Okay, I was like, they're going to be first and second. But OG pushed early, right? And
maybe getting third party later on in the match. Let's fight now. And if we win it, we won't get third party, which actually they still got engaged by Alter Ego at the end of that entire fight. So that was very odd. So I fully agree. I think they should have stayed together here, Nitra maybe, and they would have worked out. Maybe easily making it into top 5. As we saw, that was not what happened.
No, it wasn't. Unfortunate. I understand this. We have to. Falak, man. What is this dude doing? He's so cool. I'm sorry, ever so slightly, just because that 1v4, near 1v4 against Loops is crazy when you're on 1 HP of health. I just
How was
love
this
that
guy
so
in the
much.
hospital? Like literally a day or two ago. What's happening?
I'm telling you, I was like, give me whatever this guy's got, because he's going crazy here off the rip. You can just see right now, Alter Ego, 19 points, 9Z get 18, right? And Loops, right? By the way, before we get into that, right? Inner Circle, it was so funny to watch him take those rocks, right? Rather than that open compound, didn't even slightly look at it. They take that rock position, but it gets him some good points here, Niptera.
It does. I was like, I'm not sure. Guys, are we sure about this one? They're like, yes, we're sure. We're taking the rocks. It's a bad position, but the compound's taken for sure, right? No,
Yeah.
it wasn't. It was, but hey, you know what? They were able to hold onto it for far longer than they should have been allowed to. So, you know what? GG's. It takes a really good team to do that, and they did it. So, you know what? Can't complain.
Well, congratulations then to our MVP of the game, so Colgo. It's going to be the one taking home that award for this match. But I do want to continue the conversation on the rocks here, held by Inner Circle. It's not a great position right now, Pura, but APG were like, actually, those are really good rocks. We want the rocks.
God.
How about we take it? And then I think Loops at one point said that everyone wanted the rocks on the western side. They tried to snatch it out of the grasp of Inner Circle. It didn't quite work out, unfortunately, for them. But we didn't talk about them too much here in the earlier to mid-game stage portion of this match. Ultra Ego sitting in that 2-2 split on Everest was just so impactful for them to have absolute oversight on this game and know exactly what to do. And that allows them to jump up in 4th position, just shy of the highly contested top 3, which right now includes APG, 9Z Globen, and Inner Circle. This is a very big point lead already created here, Hot Jukes. 38-36 down to 23. Top 2 are running away with a big lead.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, this, by the way, we have to talk about it. Does this group stage not feel like completely different than the Gauntlet, right?
So
like
different.
It just feels crazy. These teams are rotating. I feel so much faster. The fights are intense, and that just goes to show, right? When you can be eliminated here and right now, Neptura, you got to give it your all.
Mm-hmm. I love what we're seeing here because it's exactly that. Everyone feels like they've brought their A game immediately to game 1, to game 2. No one's waiting. There's no this sort of tiptoeing around all the teams trying to figure out, oh, what they're going to do. Oh, are they going to do this or this? Let's see. Not quite sure. Everybody's like, no, this is us. This is how we're going to play. We know all of you, and we're going to win. And I love it because every single team is doing that exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, and especially they know what's at stake. You have to play according to the lobby, according to the rules, Max Man, right? And I think we are seeing that difference because, you know, in the Gauntlet, obviously it was top 7 that moved to the grand finals. Here, it's top 3, right? And I think that at a certain point, teams are going to have to start locking down some of these top squads, at least the best they possibly can, because, I mean, we've already seen the point lead, and it's only been 2 matches.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some teams be so hesitant to do anything in the last 2 games of Miramar during the Gauntlet, right, Hot Juice? They're so hesitant because, oh, there's still a chance if you get a decent game, but no, you've got to go hard. And I'm telling you, day 3 of Group Green, the Group of Death is going to be all over the goddamn place. It's going to be crazy because you have a chance also, if you're at the bottom, you're having a really bad time, you're also eliminated. So those teams are also going to be hungry to make sure they can get into the last chance. So many different storylines and clashes are going to be happening at the later stage of Group Green. And I literally cannot wait for day 3. It's going to be pure and absolute madness.
Yeah, and you know what? One thing that we noticed is different from the Gauntlet for sure, right? I think it's got to be Alpha Gaming. You know, first we hear, Doc, take responsibility, right? And just say, you know what? It was a mistake. I thought the soft angle was going to work, but it just didn't. And not to mention, in this game, they don't drop military, Max Man. They go to Stalber. What do you think about that change?
I mean, Nipchura, we've been covering CSA for a while, right? And we've just always asked, APG, maybe it's time to have a secondary drop location? Yeah, maybe. And they finally have it, right? Northeast next to Stolber, Kameshki. What a fantastic change for the better.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll tell you what, guys. We got an awesome interview on the stage. Let's go ahead and take it on over to the stage to hear from the 7WG.
Welcome to a quick report with the 7WG. I'm joined by Inner Circle, Falak. What was the mindset coming into Group Green, considering that you have to be top 3?
Obviously, we want to qualify for grand final, so we are very confident. Our mindset was that we just will play aggressive and like whatever happens in game we will see.
Well, you're definitely playing aggressive. We just saw what you were able to do against Loops. You were just so close to do it. What was going through your mind there at the end? Because you decided to push, Rado Boy, I think with like maybe 5 HP.
Yeah. I thought I'm like gonna die because I had no healing, but I thought I can give it a try, and I gave my best in that situation.
Well, that's definitely going to be a highlight somewhere out there. Thank you so much. Best of luck for the rest of the day. Back to you guys.
Well, you heard it from the man himself, right? He said their mindset is being aggressive, Max, man. And I think that that mindset has definitely been put into play here for the first two matches, at least from him. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would say in a circle, they're aggressive. Falak, he's giga aggressive. You know, he's going super hard in his matches. And I'm loving it. And we have yet to see in the CQC nade special.
Yeah, I love how relaxed they feel.
Less than 1
Used to them being
second
cool, calm, and collected, but it feels today like they're at a whole nother level. Like they've finally gone, listen, we're a global team. We've been here all season. We know what we're doing. Cannot stress this enough about how relaxed, how confident they feel. Just 2 matches in, and it's looking so good. I can't wait for this next game. The way these last 2 games have been going, for IC, I need to see that more.
Yeah, we need to see that aggression big time. You know, we saw one match of Aaron Gale today, Max, man, you know. We noticed that APG was going up to Stallberg, picking up that secondary location. And I love to see that. I think that change is huge for them. I hope it's something that they've had in their bag for a while now, because they definitely look prepared going into this game. Now, we did have that circle, right, go on down to Gatka. We saw Wolves, you know, land in Gatka. We saw Falcons land there, that area. They weren't able to have a good game here. This lobby, so different than what we saw from the Gauntlet stage. You know, when it comes to these different drops that we saw into Aaron Gale, Max, you know, what was the big team that stood out to you?
Really, hot drop wise, nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, no hot drop wise for sure.
If I want to talk about one drop that did intrigue me is Orangutan, because we know normally they were going to have a hot drop in Rozhok in the Gauntlet stage. They gave it up to go for Shelter instead as their secondary drop location. Also, Severny, up north every once in a while, depending on the plane path. But no, this time they went for Rozhok, and this is Orangutan then. That means on Orangle, hot shoots, able to play their peak performance, bring in their A game to the table, because that is what they've been playing during BMIC, during DMSD. This is the drop location they've trained for so damn long, and they can finally use that to really use their rotation to its full potential. So I think Orangutan, they're going to be feeling very comfortable now going into every single one of these Orangle matches.
Yeah, well, one thing's for sure when it comes to OG, right, is that we know that they're so solid when it comes to rotation. One thing they struggled with, though, right, is being able to flick on that aggression switch. And we heard from Balak, their mindset is pure aggression. We've been seeing that nothing from these squads. Let's go into one more match at Aaron Gale with Blank and John Allen.
It's time for another Erangel edition as we head on in from Stalba down to Sosnovka Military Island on the plane path. Blank, things are keeping the temperature hot here. That final close down from 9Z took it all away from Alter Ego, who did show a little bit too much boldness on their peaks.
That they did. I think, again, it's one of those things where you look at it, and I think Alter Ego up until that point looked pretty good. Closing games out is a completely separate skill set to the prep that goes into getting towards that end game. I was very, very impressed with Alter Ego up until that point as well, which is why it was quite disappointing for me, honestly, to see them fumble that end game the way they did. But again, you can only really be happy for 9Z that were able to basically snatch away the win in those final moments.
It's a nice little turn up for the table, certainly, for 9Z. See if they can keep it on going. Are we going to get a hot drop? No, okay. Genji not going to go down towards C block. It looks like it's just going to be APG down on military. Maybe looking Severny, could be some Archivargi as Team Secret and GS. A little bit close to each other. Maybe a vehicle contest going on there. Have to wait and see. Looks like everybody else is fairly well extricated for the time being anyway, because we're going back to Gatka on the circles.
Back over to the fields. I don't think really anyone enjoys this. But I think the bigger issue here is the eastern plane path off the back of this one. Does cause quite a few issues in terms of the rotates off towards that western side, because typically with a field finish like this, there's not a massive amount of critical compounds that can be taken. So if you're starting on the east side of the map anyway, anyone who gets fairly center at the start of this game is going to have a big advantage. So we're looking at Gen G, we're looking at Falcons. even potentially APG here starting in melee base. They can get out quickly. But again, this is going to require APG to be a little bit quicker on the ball of leaving from Sosnovka. And they should understand to do that. I hope they'd understand to do that with an Eastern playing path. Like, they have a big advantage here to get towards a more prominent position inside the circle. I think maybe they're slightly worried about a bridge camp. But again, I think Gen G, Go, they're more preoccupied with also taking position within the center of this map.
Getting on into the middle. I mean, it worked out quite well. Nobody went to that compound on the north side, so maybe someone will take it up this time. Still, teams very much in the looting phase as we go into our 4th minute, just about ticking over into. There we go, 3 minutes and 2 seconds. And yeah, nobody really making big moves right now. Not too much trouble up on the north side. It looks like, yeah, Team Secret just went off to North George. They didn't stick around near Severny. They grabbed the vehicles and headed away. Actually, likely to transition to South George here, and why not? You've got the circle access a little bit more secure, and you won't have to go for that bridge crossing after teams have already moved into that north side area.
Pro G, much more comfortable start to their game as well, John, purely because Red and Kai is no longer being a thorn in their side around Rozok. They can completely surround this area now, which is very, very nice for them going forward. They should be able to get a decent rotate from the top side of Rozok down. Like I say, for Team Secret, just instantly sending off there towards Georgiapol. There's a lot of good rotation you can make from that position around Everest, which covers you off from quite a few sightlines. Inner circle, though, they are definitely not towards the inner circle, starting on a Kameshki split. I think a lot of people are starting to favor Kameshki split a lot more of around Stalber as well. It does give you like a lot of decent paths over towards the north side, the east side of the map. On this kind of circle, it's a bit more difficult. Not that really stopped them last game, though, to be honest. We felt like able to almost do the impossible versus Luke.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy stuff. I mean, talking about that Kameshki split, though, I do think that it is very flexible, and that is its main asset, right? And it's no worse maybe than playing in Yasnaya on that front, but does give you more access to the north side. So generally a net positive. I think you're right in that assessment. Maybe becoming a little bit more fashionable, as we've got a little overview there. Coming on down. They're playing it slow. They just want some more loot from these buildings. Done a little stop off and grab some more supplies along the way. There's no rush, not at the moment. They know they're going to be at the back of the queue kind of anyway, so it's not ideal to overcommit to going fast when you know that it's really not going to pay off. It's very unlikely that teams are moving ahead of you anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because I mean, just talk about the Kameshki split a little bit more. Is that like Lipovka split where you play maybe 2 in Lipovka and then send a couple out towards Mansion? That's much more punishable as well. Whereas Kameshki is not really many teams that are going to punish you over towards that position of the map. There's a lot easier positions, you know, from Milta, Western Shelter, even Yasnaya to make a split off from the rescue team to try and catch out 1 or 2 players playing around Mansion or Heaven, trying to watch and guard out from Lipovka. Yeah, it doesn't really happen in Kamesh. Is that something that Alter Ego probably have to watch out for a little bit more? Most teams have started to make their way over towards the west now, though. Wolves getting in nice and early. I think Wolves realize that they need to get a bit of a move on right now. Currently in 3 points in 13. Very, very unideal, especially for a team that started in the Gauntlet. This doesn't look promising. Still only 2 matches. There is still time. But when you've got teams like 9Z as well as IC currently on almost 40 points apiece after 2 matches, those top 3 spots are starting to look pretty unattainable.
Yeah, it's not super friendly right now, but you know, it's still very much early days. We are only into match number 3, Black. We've only seen 2 games go under the belt, and a lot of those points for Inner Circle specifically were earned in 1 match. The same is true for 9Z as well. It is just sort of one big match, top of the tables right now. Teams, for a lot of them. We'll see who can keep up the pace. OG, they move in. They're making their rotate near Falcons, near D+, but both of those teams are on outposts. They're on 2-2 splits or don't have a full lineup to go for it immediately, and they're not taking shots out that way just yet either.
No reason to right now. You're kind of waiting for zone 2 anyway. There's only 1 minute left on the next shift. I think for a lot of teams at this point in time, not advisable to be looking for engagements. Kind of waiting for that big migrate on zone 2, and then you can start looking for fights to try and break position on the map. APG though, they kind of did what I said. They took it slightly longer, but didn't really matter all that much. They're already towards a pretty fantastic spot on the map right now. I think Doc does have an eye in over towards OG currently. And I think shot the side.
Yeah, they're looking to try and suppress that position. They're taking shots over towards the reject. We're taking shots over towards OG as well, and they did have to stop off. They're poking their noses towards that APG Southside compound, though, so maybe looking to cause trouble.
Get a good view of the map here. See what's next on the cards for us. Alter Ego a little bit slower to this one, but they can divert quite easily over towards Pattaya Hill. And then towards the northwest. Around Everest, though, we're pretty much going towards a similar location. For APG, it's somewhat unfortunate for their early central start. They have a fair way to move. GS, though, quite happy the way this one plays out.
They'll be able to move into that north side. The major feature, the major point of interest that is in this circle that really wasn't in the last one is ruins. That ruins area to the east of Everest is going to be, I'm sure, where GS are going to at least look to try and go. Some of the buildings around that area, teams are going to try and filter through. 9Z as well, but maybe they'll be able to get on over there because they're going for their classic. Let's just go over the top and see what we can find their position. This south edge, though, across the fields, is going to get brutal. And Gen G eat first blood. There's claws to go down.
Yeah, the wide wrap Kings in 9Z, it's been working out all right, to be honest. GS, though, like you said, did stop off over towards Castle and Ruins. Decent spots to play in going forward. Again, leaving Ruins is a little bit awkward, so I actually quite like OG's position, which is just east of Everest there, picking up the compounds in that area. I think you might have teams wanting to try and challenge for that spot at some point, but for the time being, I think most players are quite comfortable in their current positions. This is going to be a little bit more of a slow game. Also, OG flexing out towards top of Everest, trying to get some high ground control as well. Okay.
All right. Can we get an oversight? Fair enough. I mean, Everest, big feature in this zone. Alter Ego were playing towards it before, not fully on the top of it towards the end there, but it's a little bit more central this time around, and maybe will play well. Loops on the road. Alter Ego sending in towards some of those ruins positions too. They've already lost Alva. That's a flush from Falak.
Yeah, well played. I mean, he's flexed out from the rest of the squad. Just finds a quick pick off and will pick up the flush off the back of it as well. The guy is insane. Actually insane. Yeah, I think a lot of people understand why I usually say that Falak's probably one of my top 3 favorite players of all time. I think he was someone who really impressed me on his off-angle plays in the past and was one of the best to do it. And now again showing off just how strong he can be here in the biggest international tournament of the year.
What a time to do it as well. Looking really, really hot. Finger on the trigger, ready to go at a moment's notice, drop of a hat. Reject, they're moving up on the west side, currently skirting around the west of Hospital. Current Goats occupy that area, but they are going to divert further north than Goats' position and maybe challenge towards Everest here. I mean, this is very similar circle the last time around. The difference here, though, Blank, is that Wolves are in the compound that nobody went into last time around. You said they needed to move a little bit earlier. Maybe that's what they were looking for. An APG in their compound that ended up being a pretty convincingly winning compound in the last one. They'll take up occupation there.
I like that for Wolves. You know, they spectate the game. They're like, what could we do differently? Take the open compound, perhaps. And so they're close to it now, so they just go for it. Understanding that it seems to not really be in the progress of a lot of other teams' routes in towards the circle there. So Wolves, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It is slightly on the western side, quite close to the edge of the circle, which is a bit worrisome. But it's playable. It's definitely playable towards the end game. Goat's finding Patino from Loops. Yeah, getting the same circle again is a weird one, right, John? Where you kind of make some adjustments to your last game, maybe patch up some holes in your playstyle.
I mean, it is absolutely, and given that teams were sort of all in very similar drop spots as well, it's got to play out maybe fairly similarly. But Falak's down, and that is bad news for Inner Circle fans. Looks like they are going to rally the troops, though, and it's just Krypton close by. Could potentially be more trouble around the corner, but at the moment, T24 just drawing attention. Yeah, they're going to be able to get this res. Rosemary moving into position, though. There's an off angle. He looks for it, and Snape gets the spray down as well. Two players from Alter Ego able to line up the shots, and now Inner Circle have lost another player. This is a good little pickup for Alter Ego, working the ground around them.
I mean, they had a little bit of damage done to them earlier, but it's Wolves in a 4v4 with them and Reject, and it is going swimmingly well as Reject will hit the deck. Wolves retain all 4 players up, and that is a convincing finish there for them. In the meantime, Inner Circle are just getting battered and bruised by Alter Ego. Not happy with them taking down one of their players earlier in Alva.
No, they will do a hell of a lot more in response. T24 did manage to get away for Inner Circle, so Solo on the north side playing on. Wolves held the compound against Reject. We saw that push coming through, that crash from Reject did not go their way. And what that meant is that GOAT could not third party. OG couldn't extract elimination points. Both of those two teams playing up towards Everest, which is really good news for the Wolves. It means that it's much less likely that they're going to get third partied on an approach here now.
Yeah, exactly. And that is a big thing when it comes to big crashes, because we saw it even on that first game of the day, is where Papara Supermassive just could not hold on the north side of Rondo because they dealt with the first 2 crashes. But if teams keep coming, then eventually things are going to start to get rough. Big shift though towards the north side, keeps Everest in. Damn, goodness me. But APG get a central circle and prank no more. Dark with a lovely nade over towards T24. And that will sit APG at 2 eliminations, and they are looking to secure a position in that top 3 at the end of this game.
I mean, it's like the exact same circle. It's insane. We're going to exactly the same place, exactly the same finishes. Maybe a couple more teams on that north side and that lining that Everest side as well, which was, as you were talking about before, a bit of a major feature of that last game, right? That glut of teams moving in on the northeast, playing that area. That's a little bit more spread out here. So that's probably going to be the pace difference in this match. We'll see what can get done. OG still lining the top of Everest with Papara Supermassive trying to move in, but with APG down beneath them, taking shots, and with OG up the top, you don't imagine that's going to be super successful.
Snape just stood on top of Chips' position, so that we'll find him. Let's get down off there. What are you doing? Get on the rooftops. Then he goes in, won't find any damage. But for Alter Ego, it looks like it's starting to come to a little bit of a close here for them. I think it's tough rotates from here on out. For APG, though, they are just fully committed to the 4-man hold.
Ooh, the nade. It's just Krypton now, I believe, left for Alter Ego. As he keeps it on going, though, wants to get stuck into the fight. Null boot. Around the corner, does go down. Chips has an off angle. There's someone across the way, but Krypton finds the inside of the building. A little shack, but the Molotov burned the door away. A mad dash across, and Krypton's just juking him out right now. Osal hopping in with the auto shotty. The healing's there. He's looking for Snake, but no! He's beneath the boxes. A spin around. He got the heal off as well, but it's just Chips now on the inside. D+ have a nightmare sent their way, and GS can close them down here and now.
I mean, that predict on the Molotov was something serene in that moment. Love to see it. The fact that he's able to jump out there in time and then quickly get in cover and get the first aid off. I don't think D+ Gear is expecting that kind of resilience from Solo. GS now looking to finish off the players from D+ as they get out, but they've also got other concern, which is getting into the circle itself. 9Z moving over towards where APG were playing, hoping to take control back again of a position they held before.
APG's nades. Bending off against Team Secret and 9Z. Ooh, this is nasty stuff. Only 2 players alive for 9Z. The nade just a bit long there from top. To the 2 from 9Z. Won't quite be able to find it. Team Secret, I feel like their position is going to get weaker and weaker as fights around them conclude. They need to start pushing in and start gaining ground inside this building.
There's a slight waste of grenades there coming through from APG. I think the first couple were fine, you know, just on the off chance you're able to hit something. What is Bomb doing on Tiamba? Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't know why you thought it was a solo. That'd be a great place to try and live out the rest of the game. Is that were the most contested areas of the map?
Hey, look, Aki's going to give it a go as well. In the meantime, though, Wolves flex out of their compound. They push up Everest. They crunch Goat in between them and OG. A lot of damage inflicted by Coops towards Goat, and it is going to leave Goat down now on 2 players. The job is done. Wolves regroup back down to the south. They know that with the circle shifting up north, their compound is going to be a prime target for taking the teams on the south side. I'm looking at Falcons.
OG is just major oversight over towards the rest of the map right now. They've got a incredible Overwatch. This is the time for a team like OG to start picking up some big points off the back of this one. I think I like this flex out over towards the eastern side. Leaving Wizgoat behind to fend off the 2 players from Goat is a good idea. Not likely Goat's going to push, and these players on the east can start to take shots over towards GS or even the Falcons as they attempt to come on in.
Ooh, Ratto Boy wants to try and find the spray. Gen G will look at a regroup, but they had to give one up. I think that's Tiamba out. Yes, it is. They will go down in 12th. No, Raptor Boy tries to shut the door behind him. Nice and polite, but that's not going to get you anywhere. Falcons and GS, though, are clashing heavily on this hilltop. At the moment, it's going both ways of taking knocks, and Falcons finally finding an advantage. But in rolls SO, he's down from across the way. It's a tanky taking the shot. Are the Falcons still alive? Only just for the blue zones here, and Redox desperately trying to heal it, and he can't get it done. The bandage is not fast enough. And that is 2 teams isolated with 1 spray down from a tanky.
Yeah, I mean, the easy stuff. And this is exactly what I was talking about, is that flex out towards the eastern side. It's the obvious choice, and it's well done. That clears a massive amount of space. Finally, Top is able to hit a disgusting grenade, so maybe not a waste after all. Just needs to find the right angle on it. Genji, your arms aren't that strong. I'm gonna be real with you. This is some unreasonably long lobbing distance.
Very ambitious. I like the spirit, you know? Unfortunately, that's not what counts. It's if you actually get the nade on it. That's what you're looking for. I mean, Team Secret, they believe them, though. That's the thing.
They really do. They're like, oh, it's a bit scary. Wait, maybe we could send one back. There's some okay nades. Good chip damage as well.
Molotov just goes a little bit long. They're not quite sinking them down into the drain.
Them, though.
It does do that, yeah, you're right, and actually forces one of them out. That will be a nade range of Gen G. Maybe now they should have had the nades. Unfortunately, not to be. The nades keep sinking in, but the heal's coming through to keep them safe. There's shots. Who's that coming from? That's Wolves. Doran able to shut down Zyol, and they have to back it off. Seems like this compound makes teams think that they can peak when they shouldn't. Doc, learning from that last match, moves out to where we saw Rosemary flex out to last time.
Yeah, I mean, in that spot as well, your biggest issue is the fact that to get the airburst on where Team Secret's playing, you have to push far enough out, lob the grenade down. The only way you can do that was with a smoke, but then you're throwing the nade blind, so you have to kind of hope for it. And if you don't use the smoke, and Wolves have that angle from the western side. So Team Secret actually is really quite safe right now, honestly. It's difficult for APG to remove them, and now because they're close towards the center, APG has a big problem on their hands.
This god is peeked over the ridgeline and immediately is humbled on the peak. Doesn't go down though, which could be crucial. Go on a map crash. Let's see if they can cling on, if the hooves have got enough grip to make it to somewhere, to anywhere that they can find. They've got to some trees, they've got to a rock or two. Maybe they'll stay alive for just a moment longer. This fight in the compound just doesn't seem to want to conclude. OG,
nice.
To fully isolate. That's the nade they were looking for. That is what they wanted to find, and the first knock is finally going to come through.
Nice.
A second, a third as well. That's the off angle coming in, and it will be devastating for them. A fourth nade, maybe they'll find it. Reefus does go down in the meantime. Doc should be on picking that one up. That nade's going to go wide. Just the one player now left standing, and Ziol spots him. The off angles do too. The Wolves are going to have a say.
I mean, Atanki's picking up points from the back of this as well over towards Team Secret. Again, it's not an easy nade to throw for Ziol. It really does quite take some precision. Doc makes that one look pretty easy though, but again, it's Doc. It's Doc. So we have to bow down and accept that. But for APG, 11 points on the game right now. This is way better from them. And you start to wonder if it's a case it was nerves going into the Gauntlet there, but they were playing against some of the best teams in the world. I think that APG plays a lot better when they think that they're the big dogs in lobby, which they certainly are here.
Seems so with the current situation. Troops moving up really high up the mountain, getting that off angle, using the time available to him without that blue zone on the pressure. And yeah, Wiscod, he's done and dusted. Will be flushed out now. Wolves playing from that western side. They've been a little bit quieter than the other teams, but they moved into their position early. You liked it, Blank. It seems like they felt it too. Coops using this high ground to the best of his advantage whilst he still can, but needs to start to evacuate now. With the blue zone pushing through, that is going to be further down the hill for them to sink. And it's going to leave APG and Wolves, the only four-player team, have got solos, and then OG on the three-player Miracle Run.
For OG, they're already splitting though quite early. They do have that anchor in AKOP down the hillside. Chips is attempting to get as many points as possible off the back of this one, but for D+, it has been a little bit odd watching them, right? The aggression isn't there. They feel fairly weak in these team fights, which is so strange compared to the performance we've seen from them in the past. So yeah, I think D+ needs to find their footing once again, because at the moment this just isn't going to cut it.
North shift on the circle. I mean, this is OG with the majority of the land mass in this one. APG gonna have to move north, and maybe D+ make it to third, you know, on this solo position with Chips.
I mean, this is kind of, in my mind, this is the big question for OG now, because this is probably the 5th time the circle has shifted towards them this game, and they have decent positioning in it. We've seen these types of circle shifts before for OG. I think it's closing the match, which is still the thing that they are struggling to do here.
You can't let that happen as well. The solo position coming through from D+. That's going to split and really diminish this power, this position for OG. Aru kind of isolated up the top there. Needs to hop in the vehicle, drop a smoke, get some acceleration on the way down. But where do you go from there? You're going to get into nade range or everything else. APG flexing out. Look at top move. He's going around the edge, and it's going to be all up to AKOP down on the low ground to stay alive for them.
Nice shot from Chips. And
so much freedom on this north side, taking down top as well on the approach. I mean, that slowed APG. The solo position now behind a tree is completely known. He's trying to drop these smokes and get a little bit safer. I don't think such a place exists.
yeah, For APG, I think this is a win. It should be a win, right? For Wolves, if they're able to take the fight to APG, though, that is a massive thing for them. For Wolves, it will certainly put some confidence back in them, which I think they're absolutely lacking at the moment. I think that there's a lot of times where Wolves are even second-guessing their own decisions that they make in these games, where two players will have a very different plan from one another. But this game feels a lot better in terms of that so far. I do think that the success they found from that mid-game has really helped them, but Doc already finding that angle over towards Igor is pretty bad news. 12 elims so far for APG, and nade down the hillside to confirm this knock over towards Chips. He just about jumps out the way. Doc?
The buggy reposition. The nade is long. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Doc moves out as well. Chips finally goes down. It's Batten to be able to find that, so that is solidified. Doc is still alive. APG gonna have to move forwards a little bit with their off angles. This is a straight up 3v4 between these two teams now, as they were able to find one of the Wolves earlier.
Yeah, I mean, Doc just ran him over, by the way.
Yeah. Crack on, lad.
That's stylish. A little reverse from reverse.
Absolutely. Getting the tire blown out doesn't mean you can't look good. And he is going to slide into safety. Slide into home base. The Wolves now flexing back now. Trying to get a north side position. Remember, it closes dead center on this circle. And APG are going to move up to the ridge lines. There's this divot that sits in front of the Wolves. APG can't go full for it. I mean, especially can't, given the 14 nades on side for the Wolves. They've got a lot of utility, and APG, they need to place that one nade perfectly.
For APG, it is just one nade they need, but I think they expended a lot of them over towards Team Secret earlier. Good shots over towards Wolves now have all been slammed into the same position. Top has all the angles that he might like, and Wolves again is just, I think they're trying to find safety in numbers, but what they need here is angles over towards APG, and they're unwilling to go for them. Baton just exposes himself there. Zol's immediately stepping up. Now just two players remaining. Coops would need two massive nades to finish from now. And it's definitely, it should be a 16 elim game here coming through for APG, barring some craziness from the Wolves.
You would think so. As they get that flush, they're up to 14 already. They're grouped up a little bit, and there's still a couple of nades left. They're all being unleashed now, though. None of them really connecting. Doc a little bit further away than that. The bounce around the side. He just steps out in time. Doc just about in cover. He knows nades. He knows what's going on there. And there go the Molotovs, the utility. Ziol steps up and does get taken down. Coops needs to commit to the heal right now, and there's no nades in response. There's still, no, they don't have any. It's only one nade on the Wolves' back pocket. That gets sent forward towards top. Goes long. Coops forced into the trade. From the high ground, will not be needed. The backup not there. Throw behind the tree will get burnt away. And APG, I don't know if they got that last elim, but they were able to hold onto the zone, hold onto the game this time around. And it is a different team that we're seeing from the Gauntlets who've stepped into Group Green.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an APG fan, you're probably like both not surprised and quite annoyed, right? You're not surprised that APG is suddenly doing really well, and you're both kind of annoyed that they didn't play like this during the Gauntlet stage. Again, it is one of those moments, though, where that interview with Seven was actually very telling, where Doc admits a mistake, and I do think that this team almost required humbling within the Gauntlet. For them, it was more like the Forge. They were getting slammed by the hammer, and now they look sharper than ever coming into these group stages.
It is very, very nice stuff to see APG able to go the full distance there. It looked like Wolves had a pretty good game there too. Blank, their position on the western side of that circle, they held those compounds nicely, and they were able to transition fairly successfully. I think that OG maybe let it slip during that game as well. They didn't have the control from Everest that they wanted. They weren't able to inflict the damage that they needed.
Yeah, for Wolves, there's definitely that situation where you look at them and you can tell that there's still some floundering happening in those final game moments, whereas APG immediately had their plan and they stuck to it. So it's tough. I'd like to see what Max had to say about that APG win, though, because he's probably quite happy about it.
We have the same circle as match number 2, and guess what? The same level of hype. This was a close one. Once again, we get Alpha Gaming going against Wolves in a 4v3, and I mean, at this point, Alpha Gaming were just unstoppable, Max.
The APG win is real!
Yeah!
It exists! Sorry, I had to pop off at one point because finally the APG prank is over, Hot Jukes. It happened! The Gauntlet is done.
Way too long. Way too long.
Yeah, and it's called the Group of Death because they are in the lobby. They're top here with the P90, able to put the nail in the coffin of Wolves. Really, really happy with the execution of this game. And I'm really happy to see the rotations later on of this game for APG Niptro because they saw that compound, they saw the circles like, samesies? We take good compound.
Yeah.
This time it's ours.
Yeah, it was really, really nice. I loved seeing different teams do the same things as other teams in match 2. Like OG, for instance, did the same sort of strat as AE. So that was really nice to see it go, oh, same circle. Let's do what we didn't. Let's not do what we did last time and do what they did this time. And it was really, it worked. It worked a lot better. OG able to put up a really good fight there. But yeah, APG.